In the past 11 years, I've helped over 4,500 agency owners grow their agencies, and I've helped my clients generate hundreds of millions of dollars. To name a few, Brett Stone went from 0 to 25 grand in monthly recurring in just 3 months. Simon Kelly went from 30 grand a month to over 100 grand a month in less than 12 months. And we helped Simon Major triple his 7-figure a year agency. Now, with that being said, if you're an agency owner who wants to scale to 20, 50, or even 100 grand a month plus, then you're in the right place. And I want to congratulate you on taking the first steps by watching this video. Sincerely, I wish I had something like this when I started my first agency, because back then there was zero information out there about how to sign clients, how to fulfill services, and how to actually grow a profitable agency. And that's why in this video, I'm going to be pulling back the curtain on everything I've learned from scaling thousands of digital agencies. My name's Troy Dean, and I started my first marketing agency back in 2007. And since then, it's been about 17 years since I got into the agency space. And after running my own agency and figuring it all out for myself, I wanted to create something that would help others grow their own agencies to 7 figures so that you guys could avoid having to spend thousands of hours trying and failing simply because you don't have the correct information to guide you. And that's why 11 years ago, I started Agency Mavericks, a consulting business designed to help digital agencies scale and hit 7 figures. And after helping thousands of agencies do this, it's safe to say that our strategies work, and I know a thing or two about what it takes to grow an agency. Nowadays, there are hundreds of new gurus with zero experience, and they're dishing out terrible advice that I see a lot of agency owners falling for. And that's why I've spent the last few months compiling all of our most successful and useful training that our biggest clients pay us tens of thousands of dollars to learn, and you're about to literally get all of this for free. So what we'll cover in this video is the following: how to expand your reach and literally get in front of more people so you can start more conversations and get more clients; how to increase your influence with the people who know you so that they see you as a trusted authority and want to buy from you; how to build a world-class sales process so you can seamlessly turn conversations into paying customers; how to productize your services so you have a business model that's actually scalable and easy for your team to manage; the exact products and services to recommend to your clients and the order in which you should recommend them; how to reduce client churn and get your clients onto 12-month recurring revenue packages; how to rapidly automate your agency so it runs smoothly without you; how to build and manage a team of A players so the agency is not dependent on you; and how to write the playbook for running your agency so that it becomes a profitable asset that works for you rather than you working for it. Now, this is going to be a full course, so if you implement everything I'm going to teach you in this video, there's still going to be months, even years of work ahead of you. So if you want to get the most out of this training, take out your notepad and be sure to take notes and watch it multiple times from start to finish, because I'm condensing over 17 years of agency knowledge and all of my aha moments so that you can accelerate your learning and grow your own agency to 7 figures and beyond in 2025. Also, if you're actually serious about implementing what's in this video and not just being a consumer of infotainment, I highly recommend you download our 100% free agency scaling checklist that we're going to be using so that you can follow along. You can get that using the first link in the description. Once again, it's 100% free. So with that out of the way, let's get started. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about here is how to expand your reach. And that literally means getting in front of more people so you can start more conversations and turn those conversations into clients. The entire market is brainwashed to say that the number one thing they need is leads. You do not need leads. Leads without a process for turning those conversations into clients is going to be a complete waste of time. So stop thinking that you need leads and understand you need a way to have a conversation with strangers and turn them into clients, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. But before we do that, I want to talk about literally how to expand your network and get in front of more people. I'm going to break this down into beginner, intermediate, and advanced tactics. So if you're just starting out and you need to generate more conversations, the first thing you need to understand is who is your ideal client. Now, this might sound like a very boring exercise, but I promise you, if you don't know who your ideal client is, you'll put out messaging that is bland and it's boring and it's designed to appeal to everyone all the time and keep everyone happy, and it just won't resonate with anyone. You really need to understand who your ideal client is and put out a message that resonates with them. Your ideal client can be either a vertical industry, that is dentists, home contractors, solar companies, financial planners. It can be a demographic target audience, so mums returning to work, for example, or it could be a psychographic target audience, marketing managers who have all these tactical ideas but no strategy when it comes to digital, right? And marketing managers could look very different demographically, but they have the same wants, desires, fears, and frustrations. So psychographically, they're common. The point is to understand who your target audience is and what they have in common so you can start communicating with them with a message that resonates and gets them to take action, which is to schedule a call with you. Now, the fastest way to do this is also the most challenging, which is one of the challenges that we set for new agencies who start working with us. And that is to have 100 conversations in 90 days with people who you think might be your ideal client. And the reason I love this exercise so much is because if you go away and start developing your ideal client avatar, it becomes an academic exercise because you're not talking to real people and you're not getting feedback from the market. If you just pick up the phone and start talking to real prospects, they will tell you what they want, they will tell you where they're stuck, they will tell you what their roadblocks are, and they will also tell you what they're willing to pay for, which is the most important part of this exercise. So my challenge for you is to have 100 conversations in 90 days and watch your ideal client avatar write itself. Now, if you're doing this exercise, you might also want to set up a basic sales pipeline in a CRM tool. Obviously, we recommend high level. I'll put a link here to go check that out, but it doesn't matter if you use high level or not. Just set up a basic sales pipeline in some kind of CRM software, because if you're having 100 conversations, you are going to lose track of what people say and whether or not they're interested in working with you. And you want to make sure that you've got them documented in some kind of sales pipeline. All right, now let's talk about the more intermediate tactics for expanding your reach. If you have any kind of email list to speak of, I would suggest that you email them at least 2 or 3 times a week. I know that might sound like a lot, but as long as your emails are helpful, elevate their thinking a little bit or shift their belief, and have a subtle call to action to get on a call with you, then no one's going to complain and no one's going to think you're annoying. We send over 400,000 emails a month to our list, and we have a spam complaint score of less than 0.2%. And that is because our emails follow that framework. They're helpful, they're designed to elevate the thinking or shift a belief, and there's a subtle call to action to get on a call with our team. The next thing you can do is what's called multi-channel outreach, and that is just being active in communities and on social media, whether it's a school community or a Facebook group or Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube, whatever your chosen platform is. Just make sure that you've got at least 2 or 3 platforms that you check in on every day. Set yourself a 25-minute window at the start of every day. Check comments, get super helpful, answer people's questions, and people will eventually reach out to you in private messages and ask you how you work and whether or not you can help them. So multi-channel outreach is another intermediate tactic. Another intermediate tactic, if you've already got existing clients that you've done good work for and that they've said favorable things about you, is to develop a client referral program. Don't worry too much about the software required to manage this, because, unless you're in the software selling game, you're probably not managing thousands of customers that are going to be referrals. So you can just do this manually, but offer your clients a flat referral fee or offer them a discount on their next service if they refer a friend, because what we know is that referrals generally come with inherent trust built into the relationship, and they are the best type of clients and the easiest to convert. So get proactive and develop a client referral program if you already have clients that you've done good work for and have said favorable things about you. Okay, the most advanced tactics to just expand your reach and get in front of more people is to start what we call omnipresent marketing, and that is just being everywhere all the time. Pick all of the channels that your ideal clients use on social media and for communication, whether it's email, your website, banner advertising, whether it's advertising on podcasts, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, WhatsApp, wherever your ideal client is, you want to be. So whenever they turn on the internet, they can't escape you. That's the definition of omnipresent marketing. This does require some resources, some team, and some AI and automations to make it happen, but it is possible. Sit down, map it out on a flowchart before you start, and start slowly. Just get one channel right, but work on a system until you are omnipresent, and that your target audience will say to you, oh man, I just can't avoid you. You are everywhere. Whenever I turn on the internet, I see you and your message. that's when you know it's working. The next thing you might want to do is develop a scorecard for lead generation. So when somebody signs up for one of your free lead magnets or free resources, they go through a scorecard and they basically self-identify where they need help. I'll put a link under this YouTube video to our game plan scorecard where you can see this in action. You go through and answer a bunch of questions. You end up with a customized scorecard and a customized PDF report telling you exactly what you should do next. It's a great way for us to identify who are the hot leads in our pipeline that need our help the most. Also consider establishing a client advisory board. This is where you meet with your top clients once a month or once a quarter and just get advice from them as to how you can improve your agency, improve your communication, improve your service offering, anything that they think can help you run a better business and develop a better service and deliver better outcomes. And if you've got a great relationship with these clients, they will gladly get on a call with you once a month and just let you know how you can improve because it's going to benefit them in the long term. All right, let's dive into increasing your influence. And what this means is that there's no point expanding your reach and having this big audience of people who know you if they don't take action when you ask them to. So you want them to see you as a trusted authority and want to buy from you when they need the kinds of services that you're offering. One of the first things you can do is publish social proof. You don't even need a website to do this. Just publish social proof from clients that you've worked with, that you've got results for, and that have said positive things about you. My challenge for you is to collect 10 pieces of social proof, whether that's a review on Google or an actual testimonial, and share those 10 pieces of social proof on whatever channel your target audience are hanging out on, and watch people put their hand up and say, hey, I love what you've done over here. Can you help us as well? The next thing you should do is develop what we call your authority website. An authority website simply states who you are, what you do, who you do it for, that is your ideal client, and then shows some social proof. Your authority website is a hub where you put all of your information together. I don't think you need to build an authority website when you're just starting out. There are plenty of other ways to expand your reach and get clients like we've just spoken about. But at some point you do want to have an authority website where people can go, read who you are, the people behind the solutions, a little bit about the team, what it is you do, who you do it for, so that they can identify, yes, this is me, this is where I belong, and show social proof that you've done this previously, and then have a call to action to schedule a call with someone on the team to have a chat to see if you can help them. And now that you've got some social proof published and you've got your website up, begin proactively content marketing on one channel. So we talked previously about your multi-channel outreach. Pick one channel, the most common channel where your target audience spends most of their time, and just publish a piece of content every day, Monday to Friday, to remind people who you are, what you do, who you help, and again, showcase that social proof. Monday to Friday, a simple post with an image, just explaining something that you've done previously, solving a problem, a piece of technical advice, flex your creative muscle, showcase what it is you do, keep it super short, and follow the same framework for your emails. Keep it helpful, elevate their thinking with a subtle call to action. Just a hint, if you're using a social media platform, always put your link to book a call in the comments, because if you put it in the post and you're driving people off the social media platform, then that social media platform won't show that post to many people because you're literally driving people off the platform. So always put your call to action link in the first comment under that post. All right, let's talk about some more intermediate tactics for increasing your influence and growing your authority. At some point, you should develop a lead magnet, which is simply a checklist or a free resource that you can give away to your target audience to add value to them and collect a name, an email, and a phone number in return. And then put them into a follow-up sequence, call them, email them, text them, just to see if you can help them. Most people are just busy and don't have time to schedule a call in your calendar. So be proactive with reaching out to people who opt in for your free resource. And once you've got your single channel content marketing dialed in, choose a second channel and work up towards having 3 or 4 channels where you are proactively content marketing. Don't take what works on Facebook and try and replicate it on YouTube, because it won't work. Be conscious of the platform that you're promoting content on. Make content that belongs on that platform. Interact with people on that platform like it makes sense to. Don't do a bunch of, try and replicate what you're doing on Facebook in YouTube comments or DMs, because it just won't work. So be conscious of the platform you're on and behave accordingly, and build up your repertoire so that you've got 3 or 4 channels that you promote your content on, because some people don't use some platforms. So we're omnipresent across Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and email. They're our main platforms. We don't do much on TikTok or WhatsApp, because our target audience spend most of their time on Facebook and YouTube. That's what we've found over the years. It will be different for you, so do your research and find out where your ideal clients are hanging out. And then at some point, think about guest contributing on other industry platforms. So if you serve home contractors, for example, or what we call tradies here in Australia, you might want to go to the Master Builders Association or some kind of industry association that represents home contractors and offer a guest blog post, or if they have a podcast, offer yourself to be a guest on their podcast, or if they run webinars, offer to put together a free training webinar, tap into their audience, position yourself as an authority, and then you've also got a story to tell your audience, which further positions you as an authority. Hey guys, I've partnered with Master Builders to deliver this free training. Invite your audience to the webinar, tap into the Master Builders audience, and this is how you expand your reach and increase your influence with a leveraged point of view, because you're not just trying to build your own audience from scratch, you're leveraging other people's audience. Just make sure you can contribute something that adds value to their audience, because these associations do get pitched quite a bit from people wanting to do this. So think out of the box, and at the time of making this video, if you can show them how to do anything with AI, chances are you'll get a berth to go and produce some content for them. Okay, the more advanced tactics here for increasing your influence and being seen as an authority is what I call publish your thought leadership. Now, this could be writing a book, starting a podcast, or starting a YouTube channel, or going on the public speaking circuit. They are typically the ways where you can publish your thought leadership. At this point in your journey, if you're looking at advanced tactics for increasing your authority, you've probably been around a while, you've got a lot of lessons under your belt, you've made a bunch of mistakes, and you probably know more than the average Joe about providing solutions for your ideal client. So document it, write it down, share it on a podcast, share it on YouTube, go and talk at events in your industry. These are what I call the ultimate authority plays, where people see you on stage, they read the book, they listen to the podcast, they watch you on YouTube, and it's excellent authority positioning. So by the time they get on a call to chat with the team, you don't need to prove yourself, because you've already done that by publishing your thought leadership. Regular public and virtual speaking, as I said, is a great way to do this. And you know what? It doesn't even need to be your events. You don't need to put on a summit or put on an event just for you to speak. Go and find other people who are running events in your industry and nominate yourself and offer yourself as a speaker. They're always looking for good talent to put on stage for their audience. Sometimes you get paid, sometimes you don't, but you get to flex your muscle in front of an audience of your ideal clients. And the final bit of advice here, which is an advanced tactic, is to secure strategic partnerships. So have a look at other industry bodies and companies that serve your audience, and think about how you can partner with them in a strategic way over the long term to add value to your audiences. I know it's a cliche to say it's got to be a win-win-win, but it does. It has to be a win for the ideal client. So the plumber, for example, has to get a win out of this partnership. The Master Plumbers Association has to get a win out of this partnership, and you have to get a win out of this partnership. Now, that might just be quarterly webinars that you run for an association, or monthly webinars, or it might be a monthly Q&A, or it could be a joint podcast that you produce together. You're only limited here by your imagination. Form good relationships with people who work at these associations, and then think about a strategic partnership over the long term that will pay dividends for everyone. All right, now let's pivot the conversation and talk about how you take these strangers in your target audience that see you as an authority, and how you have conversations with them and turn them into paying customers. The first thing you need to do is have an offer that resonates with them. So at the time of making this video, if you talk to anyone about building them a website or doing SEO or running ads for them, they're probably not going to be that excited, because that message has been saturated and they've seen that offer a million times. You need to have something a little more compelling. And my simple syntax for putting together an offer is to ask them what they want, why they can't do it themselves, what they're willing to pay for, and how you can remove all the risk and take all the risk, which usually comes down to some kind of guarantee or a risk reversal strategy. The more social proof you've got, by the way, which we've talked about previously, the less you have to guarantee and do risk reversal stuff. But when you're starting out, you might have to do risk reversal strategies just to get clients on board. So talk to them about what it is they want, and then put together an offer which gives them what they want. The commodity, the service that you deliver, the website, the SEO, the AI automation, the digital marketing, the paid ads management, the social media management, whatever it is you do, that's just the vehicle that actually gets them what they want. Don't talk about the thing that you do, talk about the desired outcome. So when you start having these conversations with people and you're expanding your reach and you are increasing your authority within your marketplace, the big mistake I see agency owners make is they try and sell strangers a $15,000 or $20,000 project or a $3,000 a month retainer. And there's just not enough trust in the relationship to do that at this stage. So what I would suggest is that you sell a paid discovery workshop first, deliver that paid discovery workshop, learn as much as you can about the client's business, then make your recommendations at the end of that paid discovery workshop, and then upgrade that client into either a project or what we call a growth plan, otherwise known as a retainer. I know you might be a little bit skeptical about selling paid discovery. We've got a whole bunch of stuff on our YouTube channel here about selling and delivering paid discovery, so go and check it out. I cannot overstate how much success our agencies are having with paid discovery. They are converting way more on the front end because paid discovery is typically cheaper and less risky than committing to a full project or a monthly retainer. And once someone commits to paid discovery, if you follow the process and do a good job, our agencies are converting at an average of 85% plus from paid discovery into ongoing recurring revenue engagement. So trust the process, start selling paid discovery to new clients, and then use paid discovery to upgrade those clients into an ongoing commitment. Okay, let's talk about some more intermediate tactics when it comes to having conversations with strangers and turning them into clients. Once you're selling paid discovery and using paid discovery to upgrade those clients into growth plans, you probably do yourself a massive favor by doing some basic sales training and understanding how to listen to a client, understand what it is they want, understand the gap between where they are and where they want to be, and then position what you do as the vehicle that bridges that gap. Having some basic sales training in the agency is a good idea, so that if in the future you ever want to delegate sales to a team member or hire a dedicated salesperson, you've got some sales training that you know works. You also want to think about setting up an automated sales funnel. And when I say that, what I mean is when somebody books in a call with you, what happens between them booking in a call and you actually having a call? There are some pre-sales assets that you can roll out, videos on your process and how you work, social proof videos, case studies, which all pre-frame the prospect to get into the mind space and the head space, so that when they're on a call with you, they don't have to ask these questions of, well, where have you done this before? And how have you done this? And what's your process here? Because you answer all those questions in advance. So then when you're on a call with a prospect, you can just spend time listening to them and customize the solution based on what it is they're telling you. So spend some time mapping out and building your sales funnel. Again, we use High Level to do all of this. You don't have to use High Level, but it just makes your life easier. And whatever CRM you're using, just make sure that you can set up sales tracking so that you can get reports on your pipeline and you can measure things like how many people show up to calls. If they don't show up, what's the automated email or text message sequence that goes out to remind them to get on a call? There's no point spending time on content marketing or advertising or speaking on stages or producing podcast or video if people book in a call and then we just leave money on the table because our sales tracking and our sales funnel and our CRM is not set up properly. So pay attention to that and make sure that things aren't falling through the cracks. The most advanced tactics when it comes to your sales process in the agency is to hire experienced salespeople who know what they're doing and give them your training and induct them into what it is you do in your agency, or train other team members in the agency to get good at sales. Sales is not magic, it's not voodoo, it's just a process and anyone can learn it. The most important thing with sales is just to have empathy and actually listen to the client. Don't talk too much, and then position what it is you do as the thing that's going to help them get from A to B, and realize that without you, they can't do it themselves. Sales is not hard. As I said, it is a process. So hiring or training team members to do sales is one of the most leveraged things you can do in your agency, because it gets you completely out of the business and someone else can generate revenue, onboard clients, and then your team can deliver. And ultimately, you want to build a self-managing sales team. You want to build a sales team of, even if it's one person, who reports to you and tells you what's going on with prospects and leads and sales calls, so that you can further refine your ideal client, you can further refine your messaging, you can pivot your marketing, you can choose a different channel for content marketing based on what your sales team are telling you. So having a self-managing sales team is the ultimate play when it comes to growing your agency that's not relying on you as being the only one that makes it rain. Okay, so we've covered how to expand your reach, get in front of more people, how to increase your influence so that you're seen as the authority, and the systems and structure that you need to have conversations with strangers and turn them into paying clients. And paid discovery is a big part of that process. What I want to talk about now is how to productize your services so that as new clients are being onboarded into the agency, you don't get overwhelmed and start dropping the ball. I can promise you that a client services business is one of the most difficult business models to scale because it requires you to do different things for every client that walks through the door. And I just want to help you fix that right now so that you can actually scale. There are two categories of products as far as I'm concerned. One we call a fire starter and the other we call an accelerator. A fire starter is designed to highlight a problem to a client. It doesn't solve the problem, it just shows the client the work that needs to be done. It starts a fire in their business or it shows them, hey, there's a fire over there and we need to deal with that. An accelerator puts out the fire and accelerates the growth or the results or the outcome for one part of the client's business. It's not the sum total of everything you do, it just helps them solve one problem. I'll give you some examples in a moment. Your signature system is the sum total of all of your fire starters and all of your accelerators put together and packaged up into a 12-month roadmap and delivered with excellent customer care and reporting and communication. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. Paid discovery is an example of a fire starter. You run a paid discovery workshop with a client and you do it correctly, you won't solve any problems. You'll just collect a whole bunch of really good data from them and then you'll go back to them and show them all of the things that are broken and not working and that can be fixed, and you'll make your recommendations on what they should do next. But at the end of paid discovery, nothing is fixed. We just have an audit, if you like, on all of the things that need attention and the order in which we're going to fix them. Now that hopefully you've sold a paid discovery session, your job when it comes to starting to productize your services is to document how you deliver that paid discovery workshop so that you can start to hand it over to a team member in the future. And I would also suggest that you put together a tear sheet for paid discovery, and a tear sheet is a simple one-pager that you can leave behind with a client or email as a PDF, and it outlines exactly what's involved, what's included in paid discovery, what they get, the investment, sets all the expectations so that they know exactly what they're buying. One of the reasons I really like tear sheets is because it forces you to do the deep thinking required to understand exactly what paid discovery is and how you can teach another team member to do that. You'll know this is working when you've sold your first paid discovery workshop, when you've gone back and delivered your first recommendation session, and you've upgraded that client from paid discovery into a growth plan or an ongoing retainer. Just one note, we don't call them retainers because in our experience, nobody wants to pay for a retainer. We also don't call paid discovery because nobody wants to pay for discovery. So we call paid discovery a digital roadmap and we call our retainers growth plans. Seems to be that clients are happy to pay for a digital roadmap and they're happy to pay for a growth plan, but as I said, they don't want to pay for discovery or a retainer. So just change the language. The advanced tactics here around paid discovery is to make sure that your paid discovery process is completely documented, that your team are delivering paid discovery, and that they are converting paid discovery into growth plans at a minimum of 70% without you doing anything. We had a conversation the other day with one of our agencies, Simon Chin from Flow State, and he said they're at a 95% conversion rate from paid discovery into growth plan, and he is not involved at all. His team are doing everything, and that is a massive win for him and for us. And so that's what you should be aiming for. That really is the dream, where your team are talking to clients, running paid discovery workshops and converting them into growth plans. And as I said, this is an advanced tactic. So start off slowly, document your process, share it with the team, get your team's input, get your team to help document it, and then eventually delegate it to a team member. Now let's talk about accelerators. How do we then start to fix problems for clients? And how do we turn those services into products? So I have a device that I use called a growth blueprint, and I recommend it to all of our agencies. A growth blueprint is a 2-page document that is a visual flow chart of how a service works, and I'll give you an example in a moment. And then on the second page is a checklist of all the things that need to happen to make that a reality. This deliberately does not live in ClickUp or Teamwork or Asana or Monday or whatever project management system you use. I build mine in Canva or Whimsical. You can draw them on a napkin or a whiteboard. The more analog, the better. Don't put these into your project management systems. And the way that I use these is I show the flow chart to the client. And so let's talk about a lead gen blueprint for a client. If we're going to generate leads off your website, here's what happens. And I'll literally walk them through a flow chart to say, we've got traffic coming here to this landing page. There's a call to action on the landing page. They click the button, a pop-up appears. Here's a form. They enter their details. They go into your email list. We deliver an email with the free resource, and then the sales team can follow them up. I just draw that at a very high level, and I get the client to agree, yes, that's exactly what we want. And then on page 2 of that document is a checklist of all the things that need to happen to make that a reality. So we need to identify the top performing web page on their website that gets most of the traffic. We need to build a lead magnet that is relevant. We need to install a pop-up manager and a form. We need to plug that form into their CRM. Of course, we do most of this in high level, which makes it super easy, but the technology doesn't matter. Then we need to deliver the email with the lead magnet. Then we need to alert the sales team to pick up the phone and make a call. We just have a checklist of all the things that need to happen. Once the client approves the flow chart, the checklist goes to the team, and then the team gets the thing done in whatever project management system they use. As an agency owner, I actually don't care whether they use Asana or Notion or Teamwork or Monday or ClickUp. Not interested. They can do it in Slack if they like. As long as the job gets done and they're efficient, I don't care. At some point, my ops manager might care, but as an agency owner, I don't care what they use. I just want the team to be happy and to be efficient and not frustrated. So my job as an agency owner is to clear the obstacles so that the team can do their job, not put more obstacles in their way by forcing them to use a system that I like, but they might not like. It's up to them how they want to manage their to-do list. So the growth blueprint is deliberately away from the project management system and visually allows the client to approve what it is they're buying, and then has a checklist to tell the team what needs to happen. And you can have growth blueprints for webinar registrations, e-commerce cart abandonment, Black Friday promotions, email marketing campaigns, ad management, social media calendars. You can have growth blueprints for any service that you deliver in your agency, and that's how you turn your services into products. So my suggestion to you is to choose one service, probably the most common service that you deliver, map it out as a flow chart, and ask yourself, how do we do this 80% of the time? You know, the 20% of outlier clients that come in that make us jump through hoops and are a complete pain in the ass and do things differently and we have to reinvent stuff, let's ignore them. Let's just ask ourselves, how do we do this 80% of the time? And document that in a flow chart and a checklist. And congratulations, you've just productized your first service. Once you've done that, develop a tear sheet for that product. Talk about what's included, talk about what's not included, talk about the scope, talk about the benefits, talk about how it's delivered, talk about the transformation that it's gonna make for your client, talk about investment, timeframes. Think of it as a product that a client can buy off the shelf. It's the same every time. It's the same price every time. It's the same deliverable. It takes the same length of time. We do it all in this tech stack. If they come in and they have some weird ERP that we need to integrate with, well, guess what? That's out of scope. That's a whole different project. Maybe we don't want to do that anymore. Maybe everything we do is just done in high level or active campaign or whatever system we're using. Document the delivery of the product and then write up a tear sheet for it, and watch your bespoke services that are all over the place get really tight really fast. The intermediate tactics here are to make sure that multiple products are documented in your agency. I would just pick the top 5 that you sell. 80% of the time we sell this and 80% of the time we do it this way. Great, they're the services that you productize. Make sure your team know how to document them. Make sure your team know how to develop tear sheets. Make sure your team know how to deliver these products so that you can literally take a week off and not answer any questions, and your team have to figure it out and improve the documentation, and then make sure you're also tracking the profitability of each of these products. We made a video, which I'll put here, about how to price web design projects. The same applies for any kind of service. It talks about the rule of thirds. Go watch that video and learn how to price things so that you stay profitable. The advanced tactic here for your productization is to make sure that everything you do in your agency is completely productized, that your team can deliver all of the products without you being involved at all, and that all products are being delivered profitably. What happens at the end of paid discovery You sit down with the client and you make the recommendations and you lay out a 12-month roadmap and say to the client, based on what we've learned in paid discovery, if we were to work together over the next 12 months, this is what we would do, and probably in this order. And the client nods and says, yes, that makes perfect sense. Well, each one of those cards on that 12-month Kanban board is a growth blueprint that they approve, you hand over to the team, and it gets delivered. This is how you productize your agency so that it's scalable. The final piece of productizing your services and packaging your intellectual property into products is to build out that 12-month roadmap of all of the things that you do, all of the things that you have the capability of doing for your clients. And remember that some clients won't need all of it. Some clients might just need a little piece of it. But have all of your services productized into, I think of them as Lego blocks, so that when you're sitting with a client at the end of paid discovery, you can literally pull the Lego blocks off the shelf and build them a customized digital roadmap over the next 12 months that is customized and solves their specific problems, but doesn't cause you and your team any headaches or any grief, because you're not going to reinvent anything. You're just going to do things in a specific order based on what your client needs. All right, now let's talk about how to scale your agency. And there are 3 elements to this: automation, your team, and your documentation. The first thing when it comes to automation, biggest mistake I see agencies make is they automate everything and they run out of clients. Don't do that. The first thing you should do is ask yourself, what are the top 3 processes that we have in this business that are repetitive, that can be automated? And just document them, draw them out on a simple flowchart, similar to the growth blueprints we talked about. Just draw them out in Canva or Whimsical before you open Zapier or any kind of AI tools. Just draw them out and map out what the automation looks like and get feedback from your team. Just choose 3 to begin with and document those automations so that you're super clear about what you're going to automate. And then you can automate the first one, test it, and launch it. The reason that I suggest you document it first is because the mistake I made early on is I automated everything and didn't document anything. And then when something broke, nobody knew where to go except me, which means the entire business is dependent on my brain. And that hurts everyone involved, including myself and the team and our clients. So don't do that. Document the thing first, then automate it, then launch it, then test it and see what breaks. Make sure that your automations are reviewed at least every 90 days. We're moving all of our documentation over to Notion, really for one main reason, is that when we document an SOP in Notion, we can set a reminder to have that SOP reviewed by the author every 90 days. So they get a notification where they have to go and review the SOP and make sure it's still relevant. The other thing I would suggest from the get-go is to make sure that your team take ownership of at least half of the automations in the agency. Otherwise, as I said, it's all going to come down to what you know in your head and your intellectual property, which is not a fun place to be. You know you're automating your agency correctly when your team own all of the automations in the business. They're testing them every 90 days to make sure that they don't break, and they're reporting back to you what's working and what's not. The best messages I get from my team start with, nothing for you to do here, just wanted you to know. They're fantastic messages. Thank you for letting me know, but I don't need to do anything because the team's taking care of it. Speaking about team, your team are the most important asset that you have when it comes to scaling your agency. So I'm just going to run through the things that you should do in order to make sure that you recruit, hire, and manage a team of A players. The very first exercise is to run through your org chart as it is today and run through your org chart as it needs to be in 12 months' time and identify any gaps that you've got currently and any gaps that you will have over the next 12 months. This is a boring exercise, but it is absolutely essential. Otherwise, you don't know who to recruit next. Biggest mistake I've seen agencies make, and I've made myself, is hiring someone based on their availability, not on their ability, and also moving people sideways in an agency when they're not working out in their role because, well, you know, they're nice and we want them to hang around and we don't have the kahunas to fire them. Don't do that. Make sure that everyone on the team is fulfilling a role and making a meaningful contribution to the company. And the only way to do that is to understand your org chart. What does it look like now and what does it need to look like in 12 months' time? The second super valuable asset that we've dialed in our business here and we help agencies with is job scorecards for each role on that org chart. And a job scorecard, very simply, the difference between a job scorecard and a job description is a job description outlines the tasks that someone needs to do as part of their job, whereas a job scorecard outlines the outcomes that they are responsible for. I don't particularly care how they get there. As an agency owner, I don't care what tasks people have got on their daily to-do list. What I care about is outcomes. I care that the thing gets done, that the outcome is achieved, and I know that people like autonomy and they like to find their own way there, so I give my team the freedom to figure out how to do it. And if they need help, they can ask me. Of course, that's what I'm here for, but I'm not here to tell them how to do their job. I'm not very good at doing their job anyway, which is why I'm a business owner, not a business operator. So job scorecards outline the outcomes that a role is responsible for, not the tasks they are supposed to perform. Once you start to build a team of A players, it's important that you keep in touch. And for God's sake, I hate meetings as much as the next person, but there are some meetings that I think are essential. You should have a weekly WIP meeting, a work in progress, that just talks about what's coming up this week, what have we got on, what needs to happen, what needs to get done, where are we behind. You should have a daily huddle, which takes about 11 and a half minutes to get through, which just talks about what are we doing over the next 24 hours, where are we stuck, what are our numbers. Just a very simple update. You should have a monthly strategy meeting with your leadership team to set the intention for the month. You should have a quarterly strategy meeting with probably the whole team, and you should have an annual offsite somewhere to talk about what you want to do over the next 12 months. You should also have a one-on-one meeting every 14 days with your direct reports, and I don't think you should have any more than 5 direct reports. So if you've got more than 5 people reporting to you, it's time to elevate one of your team to a leadership role and have someone report to them, because I don't think you can manage any more than 5 direct reports. That's just my personal take. You might differ, that's totally fine. But make sure you're having a one-on-one every 14 days with the people who report to you. The advanced tactics and how you know you're building a great team of A players is when your team recruit new team members, when your team take ownership of the team culture, and when there are leadership pathways developed so that your team can continue to evolve and develop personally and professionally. I read a book a long time ago that said the 3 things that motivate employees are a cause they believe in, a leader they respect, and money, in that order. Well, I would add that more important than money, and somewhere up with the cause they believe in and a leader they respect, is a pathway where they can develop and evolve as a person. Because there's nothing worse than doing meaningless work that means I'm not evolving and I'm not growing as a person. So make sure that you give your team opportunities and a pathway where they can see they can evolve and they can grow. Okay, finally, let's talk about the playbook for running your agency. As an agency owner, there is one standard operating procedure that you need to be across, and that is the standard operating procedure for how to create standard operating procedures. And you should train your team on how to create standard operating procedures. The biggest mistake I see agency owners make when it comes to SOPs and team is, well, I can't hire someone just yet because my processes aren't ready. Guess what? Your processes will never be ready to hire someone. So hire people who know what they're doing and then get them to document the SOPs. Way faster way to grow, and it's not all on your head. And by the way, you are not the best person to document every part of the job and every part of the agency because you don't know how to do it all. I mean, you're not the best bookkeeper in the world. You're not the best project manager and ad manager and social media manager and web developer and brand designer, right? And account manager. You can't be all those things. So hire people who are really good at what they do and then have them document the process to help you build up your playbook. So train them on how to build the SOPs and choose where those SOPs are going to live, format it, train them how to do it, and then incentivize your team to build those SOPs for the agency playbook. As an agency owner, you need to have a dashboard that tells you the health of your agency. Our CEO dashboards that we build for our agency owners show the revenue, the recurring revenue, the profitability, the growth, the net gain in clients, the churn, the health score of the team, and any other important metrics that the agency owner needs to see at a glance. You will only be able to step away from your agency and take a break and tune out and actually unwind and disconnect from the agency if you have the peace of mind that the agency is running without you and is not going to fall off the side of a cliff. And the only way to do that is to actually look at the numbers in the business and make sure all the needles are moving in the right direction. Here's the problem with most agency owners who build a dashboard is they build a dashboard and then they spend their life trying to find the numbers to fill in the dashboard. Have your team responsible for filling in those numbers so that you can just review it every week and identify where the red lights and the yellow lights are. We use the traffic light system here, which says if we're on track to hit our monthly target in any of our numbers, it's a green light. If we're at risk, it's a yellow light. If it's off track, it's a red light. And my job as the CEO is to make sure our team have everything they need to turn the red lights yellow and the yellow lights green. I'm not responsible for changing the color of those lights. The team are responsible. My job is to make sure they have everything they need to succeed. And the team's job is to update those numbers so that I can just look at it once a week and I know where we are. Most weeks, there are yellow lights and there are some red lights that need changing. That's just being in business. But at least I've got visibility over the numbers and I know what to do to help the team move those dials in the right direction. There's no way I could step away from this business with any kind of peace of mind if I didn't have the visibility over the most important numbers that tell me the health of the business. And you know that your agency is documented and ultimately in a position where you can step away from it or even look to sell it when your master playbook of all of your SOPs is published, and that could just be a workspace in Notion that is updated every 90 days, that your CEO dashboard is completely hands-off, meaning it gets updated every week without you having to touch it, and your team are reporting to you, letting you know what's going on in the business and asking you for help when you need it. So when your agency is onboarding new clients, delivering on the promise, and operating at a profit without you tapping the keyboard or without you clicking the mouse, you know you've built an asset that is working for you rather than you working for it. At Agency Mavericks, we coach digital agency owners through how to implement and optimize every part of their agency so that they can scale and build a systemized cash flow business. So if you want step-by-step support, templates, strategies, and accountability to help you implement everything we've discussed in this video, schedule a call to chat with someone on the team. The link will be the first one in the description. I'm Troy Dean. Let's get to work.